Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 8. We'll present our material about translation and culture. This is our team. The first is me, Nafisa Nabila, as the first presenter, explain about definition of translation. The number 2, Nila Agustin Cynthia Vika Delima, as the second presenter, explain about meaning in translation. The number 3, Wildan Nafizul Absor, as the third presenter, explain about definition of culture. And the last, Anis Rohmah Hidayati, as the last presenter, explain about correlational between translation and culture. Definition of translation. There are many definitions of translation made by many experts, but there are three definitions that can be fundamental foundation for translating cultural terms. The number 1, NIDA. NIDA states that translation consists of reproducing in the receptor language the closest natural equivalence to the message of the source language, first in the term of meaning and secondly in style. The definition made by NIDA explains that translator has to be able to preserve the meaning though the source text consists of cultural message. The number 2, Larson. Larson says that translation consists of transferring the meaning of the source language into the receptor language. The definition highlights on the meaning transferred from source language into target language. The translation doesn't have to preserve the form, but the meaning has to be accurately transferred to the target language. To convey the message accurately, the change of the form and structure has to be done because of the difference of both language consisting norms and culture. The last, Priestlin. Priestlin states that translation is the general terms referring on the transfer of thoughts and ideas from one language source to another target, whether the language are in written or oral form. Moreover, a translator needs to know the field translated.
Hi guys, so I want to continue about translation and culture from my friend Nafisa Nabila. I will explain to you about meaning in translation. So before I explain it, I will read it my part. Meaning in translation. According to Kress in Mona Baker 1992, we can distinguish four main types of meaning in words and utterances: propositional meaning, expressive meaning, presupposed meaning, and evoke meaning. There are propositional meaning. The propositional meaning of a word is about it and what it refers to or describes in real or imaginary word. It can be judged that the propositional meaning is true or false. For the second, expressive meaning, in contrast with propositional meaning, the expressive meaning cannot be judged as true or false because it is related to the speaker's feeling or attitude rather than to what words and utterances. The third, presupposed meaning, arises from concurrence restrictions. It depends on what other words we expect to see before or after certain lexical unit. Restriction can be in two forms. They are as follow: selectional restriction and collocational. For the last, evoke meaning derives from dialect and register variation. A dialect is a variety of language used by a specific community of speakers. There are geographical, temporal, and social. Register is a variety of language used in specific situations according to field of discourse, tenor of discourse, and mode of discourse. Proportional meaning atau yang bisa disebut arti proporsional. Jadi sebuah kata adalah tentang kata itu sendiri dan apa yang dimaksud atau dijelaskan dalam dunia nyata atau dunia imajinasi atau dunia hayalan dapat dinilai bahwa makna proporsional itu antara benar antara salah. Sedangkan makna ekspresif berbeda dengan makna proporsional. Jadi makna ekspresif ini tidak dapat dinilai benar atau salah karena berkaitan dengan perasaan dan tutur kata pengucap, bukan berdasarkan perkataan dan ucapan apa. Untuk makna yang diandaikan muncul dari pembatasan yaitu presupposed meaning, tergantung pada kata lain apa yang kita harapkan untuk dilihat sebelum atau sesudah unit leksikal tertentu itu sendiri. Pembatasan bisa dalam dua bentuk, yaitu sebagai berikut: pembatasan selektif dan pembatasan kolakasional. Yang terakhir, evoke meaning yang ditimbulkan berasal dari dialek dan liburan register. Dialek adalah ragam bahasa yang digunakan oleh komunitas penutur tertentu. Jadi untuk evoke meaning sendiri itu ditimbulkan dari permacaman komunitas. Jadi misalkan komunitas satu ini beda dengan komunitas lainnya tergantung dari.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdul Nabil Besar. I would like to you all the explanation about the definition of culture. That is a term that word defines culture as the way of the life, and it is many factors that are particular to a community that use particular language as its means of the expressions. More specifical, new word distinguish us culture from a universal language. Die, live, start, sweep, and even almost virtual ubiquitous artifacts like mirror and table are universal and usual. There are no translation problem there. On the country, in the culture term, there will be translation problems, or there in culture overlap between the source and the target language. And the next, about the following of the example of the cultures term in the word, sweep, press, sentence, unit, and text unit. Okay. The culture term in the word unit. Culture. This is unit may correspond to everything relative to cultures. And the next, and the press unit. The press unit is because of the distinctions of the source language, culture, and the target language. Culture, the idiom, chord is also different as the result. As the result, the idiom does not have a equivalent in the target language. And the sentence unit. The sentence unit is sentence unit. Next in the culture culture term in the sentence unit. That is usually preferred because of the difference of the culture between the source and target language. Sometimes the equivalent can be found in the target text. And the next culture term in the text unit. Semantic there is texts which involve the culture there thus in the need more attention to get the message. I'm so sorry. Like that, the point one by one point about the translation culture exactly for the definition of the cultures. For me, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Equivalent in the target language. And the sentence unit. The sentence unit is sentence unit. Okay, next in the culture in the culture term in the sentence unit. That is usually preferred because of the difference of the culture between the source and target language. Sometimes the equivalent can be found in the target text. And the next culture term in the text unit. Semantic there is text which involve the culture there thus in the need more attention to get the message. I'm so sorry. Like that, the point one by one point about the translation culture exactly for the definition of the cultures. For me, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Hello, welcome back to me again. Okay, here I would like to explain about the special chapter. The chapter is about the translation, and then the last chapter from this material is about the correlation between translation and the culture. So don't forget to listen and to see this material. Okay, next. Okay, there are two chapters, and number one is correlation between translation and culture, and the next is about the translation and then the culture. So in the PPT before, in the paper and the PPT, and have done to explain about this material. So in this video we will to explain about this and okay, just don't forget to check it out. Number one is about the correlation between translation and the culture. Okay, translation and the culture are highly correlated because every culture has its own language. It can be said that the process of translation does not only refer to the process of translating language, but it also involves the processes of transferring culture. So if we want to learn about the language and especially about translation, or you want to translate about something, so you must know about the culture every language. It is all of language. Example is in Java language, Sunda language, in Papua language, English, French, and some more in Malaysia, Singapore, and then so more. It is so more translation. So you must know about this especially. It is like this. And then the next is if you want to translation is what to be, it is how to do is maybe about English language or Indonesian language. So you will know it's native speaker in this language about English language, especially in their culture. In this country, so we must learn about this culture, because then every language has a different culture and has the special characteristic culture. It is like this. And transferring or translating culture message can be problematic. It happens due to the difference of culture from the part language. This problem depends on how big the culture gap between source language and target language. So you must remember about the target language and source language, and this is important thing to learn. The problem occurs when the term in source language does not have the equivalence in the target language. Why? It is different, right? This is a different thing. You must learn about the between correlation and the culture. If you want to translate one sentence or maybe translate the article, science, or some more journal, and you must know about this culture. At the time, the culture it is important. So if you don't want to learn about the culture, this I think is not perfect to translate, but the perfect product of translation, and then you must learn about this. Okay, and the next is the last chapter is about translation and the culture. Identify translation theory discussed so far refer to culture items which do not include the language itself, which do not consider the language as a component of theater and culture. In contrast, language is considered basic culture, theater by anthropologists, and their philosophy translation appear to be a real contest between language and culture. A fight for imposing or preserving cultural identity in translation is a trial of the foreigners, as Anthony Berman from 20. Okay, the last is translation and the culture. In about translation and the culture, this is explain about what the meaning of translation and how to important we learn about the culture. So there is relationship and there is correlation between them. Correlation translation and then the culture is right. This is the important thing if you want to be maybe interpreter or you want to be the translation, add some more. Okay, this is the important thing if you want to translate or want to be an interpreter and so more, and you must know the culture of every language, and you know the culture about the country as between country and then culture is something like this. So don't forget, if you have any question about this material,